Now, Nefarious is a 2023 theological horror that tells the story of one Edward Wayne Brady, who is a convicted murderer set to be executed in mere hours. Brady insists that he never committed the crimes and that he was actually inhabited by a demon. Now, to be both thorough and fair, his only saving grace is to be evaluated by a psychiatrist to see if Brady is mentally competent. This will allow the warden and those involved to allow a stay of execution, thus saving Brady and giving him the ability to live out his days in a mental institution. But in walks Dr. James Martin, a decorated psychiatrist who doesn't believe in the supernatural, but is excellent at determining mental illness. Now, upon meeting Brady, things immediately take a turn for the absolute worst. Brady seems to know strikingly accurate information about the good doctor, information that is both disturbing and information that even the good doctor doesn't know about himself, only to later be confirmed true. But as the movie progresses, Dr. Martin's atheism, worldview, and professionalism are put to the test as the man claiming to be inhabited by a demon tells him something that he can't even believe. By the end of their visit, the doctor will have committed 3 murders. Completely unimpressed and unconvinced, and with Edward's fate hanging in the balance, Martin must make a fateful decision based on his professional diagnosis while grappling with his personal feelings of fear and disgust and the conflict of interest they create. So, why should you watch this movie? Reason number 1, the demon. Nefarious, translated as nefarious or one who is nefarious, is an ancient demon who with Satan rebelled and was cast out of heaven's army and doomed to one day spend eternity in hell. Now in the movie, Nefarious' goal is to cause as much chaos to humanity. He starts off by possessing the body of Edward Brady and then makes him murder an entire family in cold blood. He also gradually serves his Dark Lord by manipulating the situation in the life of Dr. James Martin, causing the atheistic doctor to do the devil's will by committing 3 murders in one day. Now, Nefarious possesses 6,000 years of knowledge based on human interaction and knows exactly how to push the right buttons. But most of all, he has the ability to possess and ruin the lives of his victims, often causing them to commit suicide once they realize that they've been tricked by a demon. Reason number 2, the doctor. Dr. James Martin is a psychiatrist who is assigned to give a mental evaluation to convicted murderer and death row inmate Edward James Brady. Brady, who murdered an entire family, including children. Now, according to Brady, he didn't commit those crimes and was indeed possessed by a demon named Nefarious. Now, hours before Brady's execution, the atheistic Dr. Martin must evaluate him and see if he's fit for execution, completely unaware that a demon is inhabiting the inmate's body. Reason number 3, the war. Throughout the movie Nefarious, Dr. James Martin, who is an atheist, must evaluate a convicted murderer who is set to be executed in a few hours. The results of his evaluation will determine if the murderer is fit for the execution or a stay of execution. But we as the audience are taken on a ride that shows how the demon Nefarious is manipulating every situation that causes the maximum amount of chaos in the lives of his victims. This is part of a biblical war between good and evil. Nefarious works for Satan, and as Satan's servant, he is on a mission to corrupt humanity as much as possible. So much so that when God judges and sentences the demons to hell, humanity will also perish. But the only person standing in Nefarious' way is the carpenter. Many of you may know him as Jesus Christ. Reason number 4, the murders. Now in the movie Nefarious, this is where things get interesting. Now, being a successful doctor with a moral high ground, it's quite easy for Dr. Martin to see the evil and callousness of a convicted family murderer, Edward Brady. But while giving a mental evaluation to see if the murderer is fit to be executed, he comes across what he believes is Brady's alter ego, unaware that he's speaking to the demon entity Nefarious. Now, while discussing theology, morality, and the full plan of Satan to corrupt humanity, Nefarious' goal is to make the good doctor murder 3 people. And before the end of this psych evaluation, what the good doctor doesn't know is that Nefarious is the one who is completely in control of this situation, thus making the doctor carry out 3 of those murders, showing him that he is just as evil as the guy who murdered an entire family. Reason number 5, the plan. Now in the movie Nefarious, the demon's plan is simple: corrupt humanity as much as possible, thus damning them all to an eternal hell alongside Satan and his minions. But there's an old adage that says the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. But in this movie, a serial killer inhabited by one of Satan's demons uses a doctor's atheism against him. But like the killer he inhabited, Nefarious is the one pulling the strings, thus making his prophecy that the doctor will have murdered 3 people by the end of their visit very much true. But Nefarious, much like his Dark Lord, uses people's desires to create compliance. Like Satan did with Adam and Eve, Nefarious gives his victims exactly what they want and make them commit evil acts. The humans then, in turn, defend their evil actions because they believe that their motives to be pure, even when it leads them to immoral deeds. Now, in the end, Nefarious was a Christian evangelical tool shrouded in a horror movie. And if you sort of felt like you were being preached to, then it was by design. Because the goal of the movie was to witness to you and tell you the story of God using Satan to drive home the point. If this movie felt familiar to you, then you've probably read books such as A Nefarious Plot by Steve Deese. But for you older readers out there, the book itself was inspired by C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. Now that book is about a master demon named Screwtape who is writing a letter to his nephew, Wormwood. Now the book serves as a guide to teach the young Wormwood how to tempt, manipulate, and corrupt humanity in hopes that Wormwood grows up to be a good little devil. And until next time, when said talks horror.